Hello and welcome to this COP28 video. Today I'm joined by Wendy Dobson from FTI Consulting, who is on the ground in Dubai. Thank you very much for joining us, Wendy.
It's a pleasure.
So how are things over in Dubai? What is the atmosphere like? Tell us all about it.
Well, it feels, I was at COP27 in Sharm el Sheikh last year, and it feels this year that it's a lot calmer. It's very well organized, and it's very spacious. So it doesn't feel the same intensity, or last year felt very frenetic. This doesn't have that same feeling to it this year. There's quite a lot of people around, going to different events. There's lots of events happening, lots of talks going on, lots of exhibitions, pavilions. There's a lot of people around, but because it's spread out, it doesn't feel like everyone's on top of each other as much. And people just seem to be having lots of conversations around why they're here, what they're doing, what they think is going to come out of COP at the end of the week.
So I wanted to ask about some of the announcements that we've seen so far. Over the weekend, we saw the big pledges to the Loss and Damage Fund. We also saw the Task Force for Net Zero policy announced by the PRI. But what's the buzz about over there? What are people really talking about?
Well, there's been quite a lot of buzz about the Loss and Damage Fund. I've actually just come from a panel discussion that's looking at the role of the insurance industry in relation to loss and damage and measuring that. So that seems to have been received very well, although people are concerned that the amounts that have been pledged for that are really not enough, but they do feel like it's a really excellent step in the right direction. And was a good way to open this year's conference. There's been quite a lot of discussion around the decarbonization pledges from the oil and gas industry. And, I guess there's two camps. There's some who are perhaps quite cynical about this, saying it's dealing with scope 1 and 2 emissions of those companies, not really a game changer. But there are others that are more hopeful and thinking, well, this is the beginning of something. It will create pressure on more oil majors to become part of that discussion. And very importantly, it includes not just carbon emissions, but emissions related, for example, to methane. So I think generally the sense of there's definitely two camps here at COP28. Those that really are concerned about where it's being held, the COP presidency and the role of the oil and gas industry. And those that think we need to get those people involved. We need to have everyone at the table and more hopeful that these things are actually all moving us in the right direction.
Yes, absolutely. I'm also getting that from other people I'm speaking to there on the ground. We also have this conversation around the wording of phasing out of fossil fuels, and the language has become a real focus point for everybody there. Do you think we'll get to where we need to be on that, or do you think it won't happen at this COP?
I don't think we will at this COP. I think there are some key players who are not going to agree to the wording around phase out. So we may get phased down of unabated use of fossil fuels, some finessing of that language. But I think it would be, I'm not expecting phase out language to be included, unfortunately.
Yes, I agree. That isn't great at all. But what are you optimistic about? What do you think this COP will be remembered for from the announcements you've heard so far?
I think that it's bringing a lot of new actors into the discussions and conversations. And again, while that might be controversial, it's interesting to have ExxonMobil CEO here, to actually come here to see what's happening, to talk to people on the ground, to see the scale of this, just how much opportunities there are around renewable energy, around just transition. So I think what we're seeing is also a lot of focus on innovation, and that can be around climate finance, or it can be around different kinds of technology solutions to deal with the transition, to deal with adaptation. But this is one of those sort of in-between COPs, I think. It's not one of the big political COPs that take place every 5 years. So this is just, I think, a work in progress COP more than anything else.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Wendy, for sharing all of your insights with us. Great chatting with you.
Pleasure. Thank you.